up, Badlands. Explain those Badlands. That's a hell of a name.
Mr. Vice President, I'm going off script again, I know, but I just want to personally thank you. We've been through some stuff. We've gone through some of the most complex military operations this country's ever conducted, and your steady hand and your leadership during those was a great source of strength for me. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your character. Thank you for your selfless service. Thank you for commitment. Thank you for being a mentor to me, Mr. Vice President.
It's called the swamp. And you know what happened? And you know what I did? A big favor. I caught the swamp. I caught them all. Let's see what happens. Nobody else could have done that but me. I caught all of this corruption that was going on, and nobody else could have done it. Did I get that one right? Every 4 years, we gather on these steps to carry out the orderly and peaceful transfer of power. Today's ceremony, however, has very special meaning, because today we are not merely transferring power from one administration to another, but we are transferring power from Washington, D.C., and giving it back to you, the people. For too long, a small group in our nation's capital has reaped the rewards of government, while the people have borne the cost. Washington flourished, but the people did not share in its wealth. This American carnage stops right here and stops right now. The forgotten men and women of our country will be forgotten no longer. From this day forward, a new vision will govern our land. From this day forward, it's going to be only America first.
This is a president of the United States who is a danger to the republic.
America first.
He knows he's an illegitimate president.
The oath of office I take today is an oath of allegiance to all Americans.
The great Trump recovery.
America will never be a socialist country. I will fight for you with every breath in my body.
Russia, Russian, pro-Russian, Russian, Russia, Russian, 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 the Russians. Russia,
Russia, Russia, Russia.
And I will never, ever let you down.
A dangerous virus is spreading rapidly in China, and U.S. officials are very worried that it could come here.
This is really the worst attack we've ever had. This is worse than Pearl Harbor. This is worse than the World Trade Center. There's never been an attack like this.
The time for empty talk is over. Now arrives the hour of action. What they're doing is using COVID to steal an election. Together, we will make America strong again. You know what it's about? Fraud, fake ballots. We will make America wealthy again. They are trying to steal the election.
Now, under the leadership of President Trump, we are fully realizing President Kennedy's prescient view of Special Operations Forces.
We will make America proud again. And watch, please, those mail-in ballots. We will make America safe again. And in millions and millions of ballots. Their vote is under what they thought they needed. They're dumping more ballots in there, okay? And yes, together, we will make America great again. Thank you. God bless you. If we are right about the fraud, Joe Biden can't be president.
Congress, the chair declares the joint session dissolved.
Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Saturday edition of the Devolution Power Hour. As always on Saturday, I am joined by Chris Paul. Chris Paul, how you doing, sir?
I'm just holding it together.
Barely, though, by the looks of it.
It's always a crapshoot.
Nice. As you all can tell, I'm hoping I am not at my normal streaming location, not at home. We had that next of can golf scramble today. Me, CanCon, a couple other Badlanders. So I'm streaming it to you guys from a hotel. I hope I don't lose my connection or anything. The internet's kind of wonky, it seems. But whatever.
You're doing great so far.
That's good. I'm also exhausted. I've been up since like 4:30, got like 3 hours of sleep last night. So if I fall asleep during the stream, Chris, it's not because anything you say is super boring, because that's never the case. It's just I'm just that tired.
We'll make do.
Your commentary so far is just amazing. But
I'm saving it for later.
Okay, we got plenty to talk about though. I want to talk about the Trump Epstein thing because I have a question, at least one. There's a Durham story out that's kind of weird. CanCon wrote an article about Marjorie Taylor Greene and the Fulton County stuff we'll get into. There's a North Korea story, which I think is just totally bullshit. Puerto Rico story, Venezuela story, just lots of stories. So
lots of fun sovereign alliance stuff too.
Yeah, that too. And I see Jessica's in the background, so we must not be using the right background. There we go. Thanks, Jessica. But all right, let's talk about these sponsors. First up, we got Tamarack Gardens, and I absolutely love these guys' products. Met them at Deadwood. Their mosquito thing is basically life-changing for me and my kids. Introducing Tamarack Gardens' handcrafted herbal remedies, teas, and skincare. Made with weeds, wildflowers, and wild harvested herbs, and in the Pacific Northwest, their products will heal your skin, boost collagen, lighten dark spots, and slow aging. Plus, it's safe for babies, grandmas, and everyone in between. From salves for headaches, bug bites, and arthritis to supplements for liver and kidney health, they harness God's bounty for your health and to keep you out of the doctor's office. Family owned in North Idaho, Tamarack Gardens dermatologist recommended products support your body inside and out because your health deserves better. Visit tamarackgarden.com today, and with promo code Badlands, you will get free shipping on orders over $35. That's tamarackgarden.com, promo code Badlands. And once again, I will 100% vouch for the bug bite thing, the little salve they got for that. It's amazing. We also got a little love litters today, another awesome sponsor of ours. Attention all you Badlanders with purring pals and feathered friends. Say hello to Love Litters, 100% pure kiln-dried wood, free from chemicals and oh so kind to Mother Earth. No dust, no mess, and no toxins, just a lightweight solution that's gentle on your wallet and even gentler in your home. Their biodegradable litter is crafted from wood destined for landfills, giving it a new purpose in your pet's life. Cats love it. Love Litter's astonishing formula works like magic to neutralize that notorious cat urine odor, keeping your home pine fresh and welcoming. For bird lovers, it zaps moisture from bird droppings, crumbling them away, all while being safe if pecked at or ingested. And for reptiles and critters too, their mix is crafted to dilute the pine scent, ensuring those little lungs stay happy and healthy. Plus, every 30-pound bag of Love Litters will last up to 6 months, saving you some money. Transform your pet care routine today. Visit badlandsmedia.tv/litter. That's badlandsmedia.tv/litter, and breathe easy with a litter that loves your pet just as much as you do. And thank you to our sponsors. Tonight we'll have one more a little bit later, but I'm not sure I'm ready to disclose what that sponsor is quite yet.
Man, the soft disclosure ads have been they've been hitting hard.
They have been.
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll get into that a little later. I'm actually a little bummed out because I left my soft disclosure at home.
Oh no.
And I don't know if they're actually feeling dry or if they're actually dry, because they don't seem dry. Like my hands are nice and like soft. I had many compliments today on the golf course of like how great my hands felt when it was shook. But to me, it's like I think my hands feel dry because I haven't used soft disclosure all day long. And it's like I'm a crack addict just missing out on that lotion. So softdisclosure.com. But we'll come back around to that a little bit later. Let's talk about this video. Let me share my screen. This is I don't know if you've seen this because you're not on Twitter, but on
Is this the
Twitter,
Mike Johnson thing?
yeah,
Yeah.
not his package.
No,
but
not yet. We're about to get back to Mike Johnson's package, by the way.
Why do you say that?
Well, because the fiscal year ends in 3.5 weeks.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, hopefully we're going to shut
right
down.
back into that and a national defense authorization that they'll try to push through as an omnibus.
Chuck Schumer, man, he has essentially threatened a shutdown over whatever it was. I don't even remember. This might be the time.
Maybe.
Not kicking the can down the road anymore. I want to see more rescissions, pocket rescissions.
Yeah.
I was hoping for like a flood of those, but we haven't gotten them yet. But anyway,
I wonder if they're waiting for the court cases to resolve.
They could be, but I don't think they're challenging the pocket rescission thing, are they?
It's going to be challenged somewhere. I think that there's elements of it that are being challenged. I would have to go source that. It was my recollection, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't remember that. But regardless, we'll cover that probably in a future episode because we haven't had, at least to my knowledge, we haven't had any news on it this week. But let's talk about this. This has been taking Twitter by storm.
He's not saying that what Epstein did is a hoax. It's a terrible, unspeakable evil. He believes that himself. When he first heard the rumor, he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. He was an FBI informant to try to take this stuff down. The president knows and has great sympathy for the women who have suffered these unspeakable harms. It's detestable to him. He and I have spoken about this as recently as 24 hours ago.
The only thing that I can...
So that's what he said. This is the part that they're talking about the attorney. And have you seen this, Chris?
I have seen this video clip before. Yeah, this is kind of old, though.
It is old. It's like
7,
8, 9, 10 years old. I don't know. We'll play it since it's only about a minute long. But this was his attorney, I think, or the attorney of one of the victims back at the time.
Say about President Trump is that he is the only person who in 2009, when I served a lot of subpoenas on a lot of people, or at least gave notice to some pretty connected people that I wanted to talk to them. He is the only person who picked up the phone and said, let's just talk. I'll give you as much time as you want. I'll tell you what you need to know, and was very helpful in the information that he gave and gave no indication whatsoever that he was involved in anything untoward whatsoever, but had good information that checked out and that helped us, and that we didn't have to take a deposition of him.
That was in 2009?
That was in 2009. I can tell you that I talked to President Trump back in 2009, and several times after that. He didn't think that it was a hoax then. In fact, he helped me. He got on the phone. He told me things that were helping our investigation. Now, our investigation wasn't looking into him, but he was helping us then.
Is that the same guy?
I think so. Yeah, it looks like him. Same guy. So this is my question. Well, first of all, this guy is not an FBI agent. He's not. He's an attorney for some of the victims. One of the victims, I don't know. So Trump helping him, and this is where I was wrong. Even this week, I made a post like, "This is great that Mike Johnson is saying this." You know, somebody of his standing, acknowledging or saying that Trump is an FBI informant at one point. Helping and I think his quote was helping the FBI take this stuff down or something along those lines. That's a pretty big thing for him to say, but I was under the impression we already knew that. I was referring, like everybody else, to this clip, but this clip of this attorney saying these things, that isn't an FBI informant. He's not connected to the FBI as far as we know. But my question regardless is, based on what Mike Johnson said, Trump was an FBI informant to help take this stuff down, but also it was a hoax. Those two things to me, like, why was he an FBI informant? What was he informing on if the situation was a hoax? Like, those two things don't connect.
Well, yeah, I don't know if Mike Johnson has this right, but I think that he's making a distinction between the crimes of Epstein and the Epstein files hoax, as Donald Trump has been referring to it. This whole effort to make it look like Trump is the bad guy, or that Trump is withholding information, or that he somehow is implicated in all of this, and that's why he's holding it back. That's the hoax part. I don't know about the rest of it. I mean, it's possible that the whole thing is a hoax, because Trump has said many times that the whole thing is a hoax. And I don't trust any of the knowledge received as properly vetted at this point. You know, these are just beliefs that have been building over the course of years throughout the truth community, based on lawsuits, based on documentaries. And I don't know how much stock to put in any of that. So it's possible that it's fake or on a deeper level. But if we assume that the crimes are true as described and that Donald Trump was informing about those crimes, it could be true that he's an informant, but also that the Epstein files hoax is a hoax and he's accurately describing it that way.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of along the lines of what we've been saying for a little while now, like separating the hoax of the files versus the actual crimes that were.
It sounds like that's what Johnson was doing. And then the other thing, I guess, is if Donald Trump was an FBI informant back then, well, that's a pretty interesting piece of information to add to the mix, considering that Donald Trump has been pursued nonstop for 10 years, trying to find some crime that he committed and then hold him accountable for it. Well, what is the history on that with the FBI? And does it extend as far back as many people think it does, back to the 80s? So,
yeah, I mean, that's where a lot of the like FBI informant talk came from, was his help with the mob, I think in Atlantic City, when he was looking to buy a hotel or something down there. I don't know. I mean, none of the FBI informant status, to my knowledge, has shown up in any of the court cases against Trump or any of the investigations over these many years. Like you had the Mueller probe, you had the impeachment thing, you had all the political persecution from Jack Smith. I don't think any of those cases or investigation special counsels forwarded the idea that Trump was a FBI informant.
Yeah. I mean, I never heard an official say it.
Yeah. I don't know, but I just thought it was interesting. Mike Johnson came out and said it. It's notable. So felt the need to discuss it. But the next story, speaking of special counsels, this is just a weird one. If it's true, this may not be true. There's like multiple stories tonight that we're going to go over that are interesting, that they're being forwarded, especially the publications they're being forwarded on. This one might be the most interesting because it's coming from Just the News, and that's John Solomon's, baby. Check this out. This is about John Durham and an alleged investigation that he was doing and somebody he charged. There's an ex-CIA official tied to anti-Trump intel claimed that Durham charged her, but he never did. A former top CIA counterintelligence official who has linked herself to the flawed January 2017 intelligence community assessment on Russian election meddling. Let me zoom in here quick. Told two of her former colleagues on like a podcast, both Hunter Biden laptop letter signers, that's interesting, that former special counsel John Durham had criminally charged her and put her on trial. The lady's name is Suzanne Miller. She was the assistant CIA director for counterintelligence under John Brennan back in 2016. She was on with John Cipher and Jerry O'Shea. And this is what she said.
Worth noting for the audience that they were members of the 51 former intelligence officials.
Yeah, that's the Hunter Biden laptop letter signers. Crazy. Miller said on a podcast last month, and this is another thing. She said this a month ago. They're reporting on it now. Maybe they just found out about it. Possible. But Bar Durham put me and a couple members of my team on trial and had filed a criminal complaint against her. Miller was, in fact, never charged nor put on trial by Barr nor Durham. A Just the News search of the entire federal criminal docket system shows no public record of any such case. And then let me skip down to the part right here. Miller has repeatedly claimed that Barr and Durham charged her with crimes and put her on trial in retaliation for her alleged involvement in assessing Russian election meddling during the 2016 election. And for that, he decided to do I don't know how long later it was, but Bar Durham put me and a couple members of my team on trial for writing a paper that ended with, and Trump is basically the rightful president, or, is president, Miller told the Mission Implausible podcast last month. I remember when my lawyer came to me and told me this, and I laughed my head out loud, and he goes, "No, I'm actually serious." I'm like, crap. And it's a criminal complaint. I said, yes. He said, "What's the crime?" Something to do with insurrection. I'm not positive. And it just went on from there. So she's claiming she was charged and put on trial for something to do with insurrection, but there's no record of it anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those times where it seems like the most obvious interpretation is to consider what some people have posited over these last 4 or 5 years, that there's actually something going on in the background. I mean, Donald Trump has called the fake election of 2020 an insurrection. And then the regime tried to steal back the insurrection narrative with January 6th. But at some point, it wouldn't surprise me if people were charged for insurrection. So then the question is, did that already happen in some court of law, or is she, just exaggerating her case? Maybe they had investigated her and she's saying that she charged them and they put her on trial, or they charged her and put her on trial. Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense just at first glance.
No, it really doesn't. And I'm just racking my brain trying to think of what there's two investigations we know of for sure that Durham was involved in. One of them was the leak investigation that was prior to him being assigned as special counsel, and the other one was him as special counsel, which we're told wrapped up in 2023. It doesn't make any sense. And how would she be allowed to come out and talk about this stuff when nobody else has? Like, if there is some sort of bigger investigation going on, which I agree that's a very plausible thing. We haven't seen a hint of proof of it yet necessarily in terms of like legal documentation or people coming forward and saying that it's happening. Mm-hmm. This would be the first time.
Is there, maybe we should open the article back up. So she's talking about at the end of her report, the conclusion is that Trump is basically the rightful president. You just had it, actually. It's right there. Right. Yeah. So I wonder what that paper is. I wonder if this is about the 2016 election. So I wonder if it's some assessment. Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking it was 2020 for a second, and that maybe she was involved in the assessment of the election, but that doesn't seem to be the case.
I wonder if I don't want to listen to the actual podcast.
Yeah, that's probably not.
I ain't gonna search
a valuable use of time.
Well, they're talking about the 2017 election assessment,
mm-hmm.
and this just makes me think of, man, like that whistleblower that they had not long ago, and they just brought that story up very recently.
Which whistleblower? The
one that mentioned Durham again. Durham's been like mentioned multiple times. Like he was involved with the shift thing recently. The Comey thing, the Comey leak. This now, and in this whistleblower report, where remember the whistleblower who was like, he came forward and he said he was investigating the 2016 election, specifically with the Russia thing. This was after they had that meeting where like, hey, we're going to task you to go find the Russian interference. And as he was looking, he came across these IP addresses pinging with Trump and Russia. And so he brought it to his bosses. His bosses were like, no, don't look into that, even though this is exactly the kind of thing that we told you to look for. And it turns out that later he said, am I sharing my screen? I'm not. There, you see it there?
Yeah.
Later he says, oh yeah, it's possible some of those things may have been relevant to the Durham investigation. And then seeing Closure 3 for possible DNS manipulation, and we've never seen in Closure 3 yet. It's not public, but this is like a subtle Durham mention, and this is the same investigation that this whistleblower was digging into, that this story is kind of related to. Does that make sense? Because they say it at the top.
It does make sense. I don't know how it fits.
I don't either.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting fragments right now. It's
really annoying.
And there maybe is some plausible, coherent picture that we could put together if we had all of the fragments and could kind of shift them around. But I think of this stuff like a puzzle. We've got small pieces that are like around the border, and that's not going to give us the whole picture,
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And this is the kind of stuff that's it's frustrating with the disclosure because this is going to somehow matter later. Like especially the John Solomon stuff. I've been really keen in on him lately. I think he's so over the target and like setting the signal with the cases.
Right.
And when his outlet is putting stuff like this out, it's like, okay, this is going to be important for later. We just don't know why yet. This whistleblower report, we talked about this on Wednesday. The story they just ran on this like 4 days ago was a story they put out in July. Like, we've already known about this. He's bringing it back up again. Then we get this story. Like, the way they're doing these little puzzles, it's really confusing. So there's got to be something much, much bigger coming later to make all these things make sense.
It's also just strange. Like, if she was tried for insurrection, for, like, I'm not suggesting that I think that part's true, although it could be. It's weird that she's going on a podcast and bringing it up.
Yeah. Like, how would she be allowed to talk about it when nobody else has? Like, some random old CIA person or intel person on a podcast brings this up. It's like, oh, I couldn't remember. I couldn't even believe I was being charged with it. But he's like, yeah, it's something to do with insurrection.
Yes, especially a podcast hosted by former intelligence officials involved with the Hunter Biden letter, who are probably running a podcast to provide high-level limited hangouts.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, and cover stories. Yeah.
Yeah, but I thought this was notable. Want to talk about it. Don't know exactly what it means, if it's anything, if it's bullshit. But anyway, do you have that New York Times North Korea story?
Somewhere.
I kind of want to do that one next.
Somewhere.
By the way, I haven't said hi to the chat yet. So, chat, how y'all doing? You got a good crowd tonight.
Where are we here? We're almost there. Here we are. Wait, I have to get to the archive version. Hold for processing.
Take your time. I shall allow it.
There we are.
Trump kept posting, "Where's Durham? Durham is key." This is from Sparrow64 in the chat. All the testimony he got from previous trials are now admissible when they charge Hillary. If they charge Hillary. That is correct.
Yeah, I mean, if the RICO thing is real, then we can expect that there will be step-by-step narrative advancements until it's time to put the thing down for real. And, it's entirely possible that they're waiting for another fake election cycle through November. I mean, we're talking 2 months until the gubernatorial elections in Virginia and New Jersey. And I think there's one other state. But why would you not allow that to go through at this point and catch it all again?
I don't know. We have another story on that too. We could probably touch on that real quick before we even get to the New York Times one. Because I was with CanCon today, and CanCon wrote this article for the Gateway Pundit, and he's been kind of teasing this for a little bit. I think he may have known it was coming. But Marjorie Taylor Greene put out a memo, or a formal request, excuse me, to the DOJ and the FBI into Georgia's 2020 election. He has a thread below with all of his notes and articles and stuff. But yeah, she's basically saying, writing to request the opening of an investigation into the operations of Georgia's elections, specifically into the Secretary of State's office and Fulton County. All sorts of different requests in here. I should probably read through it. It's pretty short. And CanCon said it was important, so probably should believe him. The Georgia State Election Board passed a resolution on July 30th, 2025, asking the Secretary of State and Attorney General of Georgia to seek the assistance of the Department of Justice in resolving outstanding allegations regarding violations of Georgia and federal election law in recent elections. Specifically, the resolution referenced SEB complaint number 2023025, which alleged that there was serious error by the Fulton County Board of Elections in the 2020 election. While the Secretary of State and Fulton County BOE reached a negotiated settlement, the SEB has ruled that the matter has not been decided. In an effort to complete the investigation, the SEB issued a subpoena for 2020 election documents to the Fulton County BOE, but they have refused to comply. Because the Georgia Attorney General and Secretary of State have declined to investigate this matter or provide assistance to the SEB, federal involvement is necessary. This demonstrates that the public records and other extant documents include sufficient information to start an investigation of unreconciled election data, improper procedures, and the failures of the Georgia election system overall, including the machine-related components of that election system. I think there's one more little. God, Macs are so confusing. I'm not used to these. Many important issues concerning recent elections have never been fully investigated and require federal involvement. Please confirm receipt of this letter and advise whether the Department of Justice and/or Federal Bureau of Investigation will be opening an investigation into this matter. Sincerely, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Rumor is it's going to be Ed Martin and I can't remember the other guy's name. But anyway, Ed Martin is going to be involved in investigating this. I'm getting the vibe from my inside source who smokes a lot of marijuana. That's neither here nor there. That my source is heavily implying that he believes the directionality of this is coming from the White House, not necessarily Marjorie Taylor Greene. If he's accurate on that, that's pretty important, I would say. But yeah, so they're digging into the elections, Chris. They're going to fix them.
Yeah. If it's not coming from Trump through MTG, I don't know what to make of this, especially when the complaint is about the withholding of information, something that we have seen over and over and over and over again the last few years. One of the best examples is the sham January 6th committee. All of the material that they supposedly went through in their investigation of the very violent insurrection, all of a sudden, all that information is gone. They can't get it. They can't hand it over. What is his name? Benny Thompson, is it?
Yep.
There's a lot of instances like that. And you have to wonder when people who are, as far as I'm concerned, unknowns, and there's not a single person in Congress or Senate that I would suggest is definitely legitimately in office. So I have no trust for any of them. When those people are saying they can't get information about one of these real high-level issues that remain unresolved, I assume it's because the information is not where they're trying to retrieve it from, and or they are blocked from accessing it.
Yeah. Speaking of the J6 committee, did you see that they're doing a new committee to investigate?
Oh yeah, they're going to nail them.
New committee into the committee. House votes to establish a new committee to investigate the January 6th attack.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have committees on everything. And then next session, we're going to have new committees to investigate the committees from this session, who are investigating the committees from last session, who are investigating the prior Trump administration. It's brilliant stuff.
Yes.
But yeah, so we'll see where that goes. I am slightly, I wouldn't say excited. I wouldn't necessarily say happy. I don't even know what the word is. I don't know what the middle ground. I'm too tired to figure it out, but it's somewhere between like bored and like neutral. I don't know. Well, there's a word in there somewhere. I don't know what it is, but I'm that because of who's going to be in charge of this committee. And it's, what's his name?
Barry Loudermilk.
Loudermilk. I do like some of the stuff that he's put out and some of the narratives he's debunked. He's the guy who came out with the report that was like, yeah, Trump never actually tried to like jump at the steering wheel of the Secret Service and all those things. Like he was that guy. Didn't
they go after Loudermilk for being in the Capitol, bringing people into the Capitol or something on January 6th? Yeah.
Yeah, that was total bullshit. But I mean, he
something
did
going
tour,
on there.
He gave a tour to some of his constituents the day before or the weekend before, and one of the people that was with his constituents, like one of their friends, happened to also be at the Capitol grounds on January 6th. I don't think he was ever like charged or indicted or anything, but clearly that was Loudermilk, planning the entire insurrection.
Yeah, they were casing the place.
Yeah, the entire insurrection that ended up with the side putting forth the insurrection not even coming close to what we would consider overthrowing the government, but whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk North Korea for a little bit.
All right.
This story's fascinating. Retarded.
How a top secret SEAL Team 6 mission into North Korea fell apart. The 2019 operation, greenlit by President Trump, sought a strategic edge it left unarmed North Koreans dead. Do you want to?
When did this come out?
September 5th. So yesterday. I thought it was early. I thought it was the day before.
If you send me the link, I can read it. Yeah, if you want me to.
Well, I mean, I can. I don't.
Yeah, go ahead. I mean, I only read through when you sent it to me. I read through. I think I stopped at one of the parts where it was like, the people who took part in this it was they lost me at the part where they're like, the New York Times did leave some things out of here because of national security. We take this stuff very seriously. And I was like, okay, fuck you guys.
That's a long piece.
Yeah, we're not reading the whole thing. I did not read that far.
Yeah.
But just
the
intro
the
part
long and short of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
you'll know.
A group of Navy SEALs emerged from the ink black ocean. And you always have to take it extra serious when they start trying to get literary and use like imagery and stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So
ink black ocean.
Is the waters around North Korea that black?
Well, yes. I mean, it's a godforsaken place where a brutal dictator rules with an iron fist.
Is it black because all of the blood that has been, all the people that were killed there, they drain the blood into the ocean, and blood over time turns black? That's probably it.
Or it's because even the water there is dead.
There we go. I like that one. Let's do that one.
So anyhow, on a winter night in early 2019, and they crept to a rocky shore in North Korea. They were on a top secret mission so complex and consequential that everything had to go exactly right. If anything went even slightly wrong, they had to bail out.
And that's what happened.
The objective was to plant an electronic device that would let the United States intercept the communications of North Korea's reclusive leader, Kim Jong Un, amid high-level nuclear talks with President Trump.
Okay, we need to stop right there already, because we're the second paragraph. 2019, like even in 2019, like technology, I'm pretty sure had advanced to a degree where we didn't need to go and like install a device on a foreign land. Like this is a proximity device. As long as it's within 100 feet of, his bedroom, we'll be able to hear everything he can. We weren't going to go put a bug in his room under his like desk. Like that's not needed these days with technology. They could freaking hack his computer if they wanted to and listen to anything and everything he wanted to say. This mission already smells like bullshit. The whole story.
Yeah. I'm 100% on board with that. It sounds ridiculous.
Yeah.
The mission had the potential to provide the United States with a valuable stream of intelligence, but it meant putting American commandos on North Korean soil. A move that, if detected, not only could sink negotiations, but also could lead to a hostage crisis or an escalating conflict with a nuclear-armed foe.
So, hold on.
Yeah, go ahead.
God, this is why I love this article. It's so stupid. It's like the disclosure of this operation could potentially lead to an escalating conflict with a nuclear-armed foe. So we're going to tell you about it.
Yep.
Just to make sure that this nuclear armed foe knows that this story took place, which is probably bullshit.
Another indication that it's probably them who did this, to the extent anything happened, and they did it specifically to sink negotiations between Trump and Kim Jong Un.
Yeah.
So this is early 2019, and Trump went to Korea and crossed the DMZ in June of 2019.
Crazy.
So we're talking about a matter of months between this near international incident and their meeting that they had been planning, so that at some point we could actually end the Korean War, which is still ongoing from the 1950s for real. And South Korea is just a U.S. military occupation.
Okay, but how real can the war be when part of the arsenal that is used in the war is literal poop balloons?
Yes.
North Korea is sending shit balloons to South Korea. Like that's their most recent bombing campaign. Like that's also not
and very funny.
Oh, hilarious.
But
I would love to send shit to my enemies.
People are there are probably some people in the audience who are like, what in the world are you guys talking about? North Korea is a brutal dictatorship. You can't joke around about it. And hey, man, maybe you're right. But if that's the case, you have to explain how South Korea has been a global regime proxy state, very quote unquote westernized, while it is actually just a U.S. military occupation for 7 decades. That's insane. The idea that that North Korea is the problem in that scenario is just hard to reconcile with what we know about the world now.
And didn't we just get a story of the South Korean president who got arrested for bribery or something?
Yes. Yeah. And there was concerns over the legitimacy of the election and everything else.
Yeah, weird.
They're saying that the CCP handed this guy the election because, of course, it's always, one of the superpower nations always has to be blamed by the other superpower nations, and they just decide how it's going to go down depending on the region of the world.
Anytime an anti-regime pick is in there or wins an election, then there was some sort of theft.
Yep.
And it's anti-democratic to allow these people to proceed being in office every time.
Exactly. Should we keep going? Because the next line is fantastic.
We haven't gotten to the good part yet. So
yes, it was so risky that it required the president's direct approval. So they are tying Trump directly to it. They're like, this guy is 100% responsible for this near international incident that could have destroyed all our negotiations with this nuclear armed country. They are really trying to sell it hard.
Oh yeah, and doing a great job. We're totally buying it.
For the operation, the military chose SEAL Team 6's Red Squadron, the same unit that killed Osama bin Laden. The SEALs rehearsed for months, aware that every move needed to be perfect. But when they reached what they thought was a deserted shore that night, wearing black wetsuits and night vision goggles, the mission swiftly unraveled. A North Korean boat appeared out of the dark. Flashlights from the bow swept over the water. And it just keeps going. I don't know. Whatever.
Well, we're almost there. We're almost to the part that I want to stop at. But finish that paragraph, and then the boat thing.
Okay. Fearing that they had been spotted, the SEALs opened fire. Within seconds, everyone on the North Korean boat was dead.
And then the SEALs retreated into the sea without planting the listening device. Guys, this operation was so important. They had to plan for months, literal months. They had to rehearse it. Everything had to go perfectly. It had to be perfect. But for some reason, they forgot to turn on the radar that would have detected a boat on the shoreline of the place they were landing. This makes no fucking sense. No sense. Keep going. Sorry.
I'm skipping down slightly. This account of the story is based on interviews with 24 people, including civilian government officials, members of the first Trump administration, and current and former military personnel with knowledge of the mission. All of them spoke on the condition of anonymity because of the mission's classified status. So they know it's classified. They go to the New York Times to tell their story, and they're unwilling to put their names on it because they know that it's classified. We have to get past the point where we think people divulging classified information and not putting their names on it are telling the truth or should be taken seriously.
I said this a while ago, and I don't even know if I necessarily believe it, but I do believe there should be some sort of repercussions for, outlets like this who use anonymity of sources to just totally fabricate bullshit, because that's what they do.
Yeah.
There has to be some sort of repercussions for that. If you're not willing to put your name on a source, you shouldn't be able to run a story like this. And if you're that afraid for what you're saying, then you go to a whistleblower hotline or whatever. There's a path for that for whistleblowers. But if you're not going to use that path, you shouldn't just be able to do this way. This should be fucking illegal, in my opinion. This is psyopery.
And do you see the justification for it in the next sentence? Several of those people said they were discussing details about the mission because they were concerned that special operations failures are often hidden by government secrecy. Why would they have that concern? And who was running all of the governments aside from Donald Trump, who could be responsible for these operations, these failures being hidden by government secrecy?
It's crazy, man. And go down to the next the military. Do the military? No.
Oh, sorry.
That's the last one. The one before that. Read those two.
The military operation on North Korean soil close to American military bases in South Korea and the Pacific region also risked setting off a broader conflict with a hostile, nuclear-armed, and highly militarized adversary. The New York Times proceeds cautiously when reporting on classified military operations. The Times has withheld some sensitive information on the North Korea mission that could affect future special operations and intelligence gathering missions.
That last line, this is where I stopped reading it before because it's like, you motherfuckers. Like, this is totally fabricated. They don't take any of this stuff seriously. They're not cautious about anything. Yeah. Like, this story, you have no reason to believe it's true. We have literally no reason to believe it's true. But your interpretation of it, what you said at the beginning, where this is something where they could have been the ones to try to do this.
Oh, yeah.
And spark this thing off. It never made its way public because maybe Trump found out and knew what happened. And, whatever reason, him in North Korea, they knew what really went down. And now these people are coming out admitting to it. Like that potentially, like what if Trump does address this now and tells a real story of what actually happened here or something? I mean, I doubt he will. Probably just say it's a hoax again. Like he does.
Yeah. I wonder about the identities of these civilians who were killed, because if this scenario is remote, the description of the scenario is remotely reflective of something that actually happened, it sounds a lot more like a targeted strike on certain individuals that is then being explained as a secret mission to plant a listening device.
Makes no sense. Like the stupidity of trying to pretend that is the technique. Like, we need to go plant a bug in Kim Jong Un's office. Like that. Give me a fucking break. Give me a fucking break. But this kind of reminds me of the Nord Stream pipeline situation. Like,
it does.
For the longest time, we thought that was, a CIA op. Now we're told they just got the guys, the 6 Ukrainians. We got them all, and we're going to charge them. A couple of them are dead though. But yeah, they're totally the real guys who definitely blew that thing up. And they've just been egging, these traditional enemies, the enemies that the mainstream media tells us are supposed to be enemies, North Korea, Russia, all these people. They're trying to egg them on into a conflict with us using their powers while Trump is in office. I guess not the Nord Stream pipeline was when Biden was in office, but same thing, same goal. Justify. They need those people to attack us or do something in some fashion when they can't false flag them into it in the first place. This is almost the reverse false flag to get them to respond, which then justifies the whole reason for the conflict or whatever in the first place.
But yeah, they're also trying to get Trump's base to split off from Trump based on these different, issues that we have with these supposed adversarial nations in favor of our allies who are actually our adversaries.
Yeah. Ghost in the chat says, meanwhile, European leaders are being convicted of pedophilia. That's a little off topic, Ghost, but yeah, they are just mad because Kim built that sick looking water park. That is a pretty sick looking water park.
Here's the description of the dead, by the way. The shore team swam to the boat to make sure that all of the North Koreans were dead. They found no guns or uniforms. Evidence suggested that the crew, which people briefed on the mission, said numbered 2 or 3 people, had been civilians diving for shellfish. All were dead, including the man in the water.
Okay, but so then that right there, if you're the SEAL team, you have this super important mission to install this listening device. You think you may have been spotted and you don't want to get in trouble, whatever, get caught. You go check on the boat, realize the people you've killed have nothing to do with military. They're just shellfish people, very selfish of them. And you don't go on with your mission. Like, what risk who cares? Like, so they're dead. These people that were no threat to you and weren't going to contact anybody. Just go on with your mission, plant your thing, and then leave. Like, a fisherman boat doesn't seem like something that's going to scare you away. Like, you had the time to go check on the boat to see if they're dead, but then you turn around, like, fuck that. That's the thing.
Also, like, leaving a bunch of dead Korean fishermen in the water is not like the way to prevent an international incident.
Yeah, wouldn't you like scuttle the boat or something?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Who knows?
Man, I feel like I'd be a way better SEAL team operator in the context of the story, not in real life, but in the context of the story, I'd have way better ideas about how to handle that situation.
Yeah, I guess
the boat.
Just got to get out of there. Well, okay, so let's talk about one more aspect of it, right? So this is no slight at all to special operators, who I'm sure are doing exactly what they're supposed to do, okay? But to the people who are determining their missions and sending them out prior to the change that is reflected in the intro to the show, wasn't the CIA, like our intelligence agencies, didn't the CIA have access or like the ability to order strikes themselves? Like different operations, maybe not strikes.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe that's not the right word, but
yeah. I mean, the CIA has their own like operators group. Dude, have you seen what's it called? It's on Amazon Prime. Chris Pratt, The Terminalist.
Yeah.
Okay, so The Terminalist season 1 was really good. All about this basically a SEAL team that gets killed off.
Do you remember the scene where they got killed off?
Yeah.
At the intro to the show, it's like this.
It's this, yes. Yeah. But season 2, have you seen that yet? It's
no,
out now.
no.
Like, they're doing one episode at a time.
Okay.
And it's a prequel, and it's about the Ben character. I'm gonna try to not like give away any spoilers or anything, but it's a prequel of how he went from being in the SEAL team to in the CIA. And it's how about like he has all this more freedom to do these operations. He doesn't have to go through the bureaucratic red tape to do these operations. They can just go like kill anybody anywhere and do whatever they need to do to get the mission done. And the CIA in the show is working with Mossad to prevent Iran from getting nuclear weapons. That's like the whole plot of the entire thing. It's propaganda. I mean, it's good. I like it, but I at least acknowledge that it's propaganda.
Yeah. That's all right. As long as you understand the ways it's trying to bend your mind, you can still be entertained by things.
Well, I am a little fearful now that Iran's nuclear program is legit, and I think we should be afraid of it.
I thought it got obliterated.
Well, I don't know. We'll have to see how the same vehicles do taking on the cartels.
The Atlantic this week put out a big article about how Iran is reconstituting their nuclear threat.
Who cares? Like they are so bad at making nukes. They've been trying to make a nuke for 30 years. If they were really good at it or really wanted it that bad, they'd have it by now. Give me a break, guys.
So there was a meeting this week between Kim Jong Un, Xi Jinping, and Vladimir Putin. And then Modi got in the mix this week at some point too. Lots of stuff going on with that crew. And then Donald Trump put this out. So we kind of have all these things getting wrapped up together. Trump talking about how these are, sorry, not that one. I need to, there we go. He said the big question to be answered is whether or not President Xi of China will mention the massive amount of support and quote unquote blood that the United States of America gave to China in order to help it to secure its freedom from a very unfriendly foreign invader. Many Americans died in China's quest for victory and glory. I hope that they are rightfully honored and remembered for their bravery and sacrifice. May President Xi and the wonderful people of China have a great and lasting day of celebration. Please give my warmest regards to Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong Un as you conspire against the United States of America. President Donald J. Trump. Yeah, I have to wonder which freeing of the Chinese from a foreign invader he is referring to. And I would suggest that the surface level interpretation and how it's probably going to be taken widely is something 50 years ago.
World War II, Japan. That's what I see a lot of.
You do? Are people saying that in particular?
I've seen a little bit of that on Twitter. It's like, okay, World War II, Japan, they were the foreign invader and we just nuked the shit out of them. And that's what saved, we saved China.
Or it's the same global regime, invisible enemy that has penetrated all of the superpower nations and has tried to overthrow the United States, Russia, and China again and again and again for a very long time, to whatever degree of success.
But see, so this message though, like all these foreign leaders are meeting. What we believe is taking place is some sort of sovereign alliance where the two sides in one fashion or another are working towards the same goal. Even though we try to figure out what that goal is, we think we know what that goal is. We don't know for sure. We have no actual level of certainty of what the goal is, but there's some level or degree of them working together. This post is not actually directed at Xi. It's direct. It has a target audience. And even it was so weird. Like, I'm not sure who that target audience is. The normie mind doesn't give a shit about that. We know it's not the truth. The mainstream media, is it directed at them? I doubt it. So who's the target audience of that post? I honestly don't know. It was a weird one.
Well, let's go to the next one. Maybe he's just saying he wants recognition for something because he's calling people's attention to this multiple times now. I don't know if you saw this from the White House the other day with
Russia and China, you certainly asked about. We saw a dramatic picture where we saw the leaders of Russia and North Korea and China together. The first time the leaders of those three countries have been together in this sort of show of solidarity. You said that they're conspiring against the United States. What do you think they're conspiring to do? And given this, is it reason why you should slap or would consider slapping secondary sanctions on Russia if they're conspiring against the U.S. now?
Well, I've already done that with regard to India, and we're doing it with regard to other things. And I put out a truth last night. You saw that. And I was the one that brought it up. I said, they're only doing this. They're looking to, when they did what they did, I thought it was a beautiful ceremony. I thought it was very, very impressive. But I understood the reason they were doing it, and they were hoping I was watching, and I was watching. My relationship with all of them is very good. We're going to find out how good it is over the next week or two. I think that we helped China very much, as you know, when they talk about freedom. And I don't believe that, and maybe I'm wrong, I hope I'm wrong, but I don't believe that America, that the United States was acknowledged for helping China to gain its freedom. But perhaps that was just a sleight of hand. I mean, I was very surprised. I watched the speech last night. President Xi's a friend of mine, but I thought that the United States should have been mentioned last night during that speech because we helped China very, very much.
I think that's so interesting.
Yeah,
because if you accept the view, and you don't have to, it's fine. But if you accept the view that there is some coordination and these different leaders of these sovereign nations are ultimately involved in the same project, which is removing this global regime infiltration from all these nations, it seems like they've been helping each other. And there are different ways we can evidence that. But if that's the case, and it's also entirely possible that China is well ahead of us on this project, considering the stories about Xi Jinping pursuing members of the Chinese Communist Party and corruption and dealing with all these corrupt officials and stuff. Who knows how much intelligence sharing there has been to aid in a process like that, right? We're getting intelligence in from these other countries. We'll talk about Venezuela later. Ghost brings this up all the time, that Venezuela basically has its own Hunter Biden laptop showing off some of the corruption in Venezuela. And so I don't know, man, if you have that angle on it, if you're thinking about these sovereign leaders of these sovereign nations in some coordination, Trump actually sounds like he feels left out, like why can't we just say that we're all friends? I'm here saying that we're all friends.
Yeah. It's interesting to me. I think, on the heels of this meeting thing they're having over there, I think we're going to get a pretty quick meeting with Trump and Putin. That's my hope anyway. I want to see the advancement of the Ukraine Putin peace deal, because the narrative surrounding that recently is interesting. And him coming out of China, I think too, would be an interesting angle for it, because they keep saying that Zelensky's illegitimate, which I find hysterical. And I want there to be some sort of peace deal agreed to with all parties involved, except for Zelensky. And they're going to hold an election and get him out of there. Like I think that's ultimately where this is going to head, but we'll see what happens. I do want to show the Puerto Rico clip. Was it a clip or
I think it was I just saw an article. I don't know if I saw a clip. Maybe there was a clip. Maybe
it was the article. I don't remember, because you kind of mentioned Venezuela. We could go deeper there too, that Maduro thing.
Oh yeah.
I also want to play that clip of yours from Eddie Bravo at some point. I don't know if we use it as an outro or now, but that was a great appearance. By the way, guys, if you haven't checked that out, Chris went on with Eddie Bravo and it was effing killer.
Thanks.
Yeah, you guys got to check that out.
John, yeah, I mean, if you hadn't said nice things when you did his show, that would have never happened. But you should have promoted the fact that you were also on that podcast.
I forgot to do that when it came out, because he didn't remind me that it had come out, and then too much time had passed, and it was already your turn. So I was like, oh, let's promote yours instead. I already been on there before a couple times. But yeah, let's quick do. I'm sorry, I'm just like fate. I'm so freaking tired from the last 24 hours. Let's do the Puerto Rico article.
Cool.
If there's anything left on Venezuela, I'm going to check if I thought I had one more thing I wanted to discuss. Then we can play that outro video. Do you have that article?
Which one? The Puerto Rico thing?
Yeah, the Puerto Rico thing.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Here it is. U.S. sending 10 fighter jets to Puerto Rico for operations targeting drug cartels. So we have gone into the fighter jet phase of taking out drug cartels. At least that's what we're being told.
Yeah, I want to get what's her name's Twitter post on this, because it's super funny. Jennifer Griffin says, why would you need F-35 stealth fighter jets for a counter-narcotics mission? The F-35s being sent to Puerto Rico are usually used for large bombing missions, like the targeting of Iran's nuclear facilities. A fifth-generation supersonic fighter jet known for its lethality. It looks to me like the U.S. military is going to war. 8 U.S. Navy destroyers in the Caribbean near Venezuela is a first. Fascinating. We use the same machinery to take out nukes as we do drugs. We're just that awesome.
Yeah. I mean, if you got it, you might as well use it, right? We can't have those jets just like rusting in the hangar or anything.
Yeah. Where I think this is going, though, ultimately is there's already a case in the Supreme Court, or at least in the federal court. It's going to make its way to the Supreme Court. They're challenging Trump's authority to invoke the Alien Enemies Act. They're challenging his authority to deport Trinidad people. The day before the ruling from the federal judge or the appeals court or whatever it was came through about the Trinidad thing, or maybe it was the alien. I don't remember which one of those two cases. It was the day before that he posted that clip of them bombing that little boat on the ocean. So it's like Trump. It's almost like Trump knew that ruling was coming and it wasn't going to be in his favor. And so he releases a video of the military bombing 10 Trinidad bringing drugs to our country on a boat, which, by the way, that there's no way that boat was coming from where they said it was coming from to the United States. Like that thing would not have had the gas power or the horse. That doesn't make sense. And I'm not a boat expert, so maybe I'm wrong, but that story seems like a little bit of bullshit to me too.
Yeah. Well, of course.
But yeah, the timing of that was interesting. Trump posted the video the next day that ruling came through. I think we're going to see, a lot of these things challenged. He's going to get challenged on whether or not like he has the authority to declare war on drugs, and the Supreme Court's going to have to describe to us at some point, like what the president's authority is to declare some sort of war. And then the decoding and peeling back the layers on that is ultimately you end up with you're almost getting the justification for what he did in 2020. Like, is a foreign country stealing our election, or even a domestic enemy stealing our election in 2020? Is that considered an act of war and the justification for Trump to implement something like devolution? That's all.
Yeah.
It's going.
Yeah. There's, the Venezuela thing I think is really, really interesting. And I think that they are a developing example of the sort of situation that we see in Russia, China, North Korea, Saudi Arabia, some of these other nations that seem to be well on board with, the sovereign alliance framing and operating in anti-regime fashion. I think it was probably about a year ago that we went over the crisis group report on Venezuela from 2020, talking about different strategies on behalf of global bankers and energy companies on how to overthrow the Maduro regime and make it look totally legitimate. They wanted to take over the election infrastructure, force early elections, and then replace Maduro to make Venezuela part of our democracy, which means Venezuela is not part of our democracy. And Maduro is not on the side of the regime. And the report cannot be clearer about this. And so then there's been a bunch of interesting communications from Maduro over the last few years, and particularly this year, blaming Joe Biden and I think it was the DEA and maybe the FBI, but maybe another three-letter agency for Tren de Aragua coming to the United States. Maduro was actually anti-Tren de Aragua down in Venezuela, and now he's being blamed for like setting them up and running them. The intelligence community released a report back in May that said specifically they don't have any evidence that Maduro is running Tren de Aragua. And of course they don't. I mean, there is a level of hoodwinking that we've discussed many times might be necessary in order to get these situations to the point of completion where the public understands them in the proper context without giving the mainstream media the opportunity to kind of just slam the door on any open-mindedness that perhaps they've lied to us throughout our lives about these situations. But I'll pause to jump in.
Well, I have a clip I want to play. I think that kind of fits with what you're saying. This is Stephen Miller talking about Nicolas Maduro. I don't know if you saw this. Check this out.
President of Colombia is saying that cartel of the Suns does not exist. What can you answer, and which message do you send to people in Venezuela after this indictment of Nicolas Maduro?
Well, as you know, and thank you for bringing it up, Nicolas Maduro is an indicted drug trafficker. He's indicted in federal court. He's a fugitive from justice in America. As I think you're also aware, there's a $50 million reward for the return of Nicolas Maduro. Not just him, his henchmen have also been indicted. So it is a drug cartel that is running Venezuela. This is a very important point. It's not a government, it is a drug cartel, a narco trafficking organization that is running Venezuela. And this has been documented in federal court, and indictments have been secured. The people of Venezuela have been suffering and struggling under the reality of a nation that is so rich in resources, so rich in reserves, that is run by Maduro, the head of the cartel that you referenced, the Cartel de los Sols. That is absolutely one of the most ruthless criminal cartels on the planet. And many Americans may not realize that the drugs killing their kids are coming from Maduro And also the criminal aliens killing their kids are coming from Maduro. So he's sending his drugs. He is sending his killers, his assassins into our communities. And he's working directly with other designated foreign terrorist organizations like the FARC in Colombia and all the Mexican drug cartels. So it's one continuous loop. And for decades and for years, for generations, we used our military to engage in action against terrorists in the Middle East and in Africa, while leaving unharmed the terrorists in our own hemisphere who are responsible for so much more American deaths, so many more American deaths, who have spilled so much blood across the Western Hemisphere, who have bereaved so many parents and families, and who have contributed to such a horrific cycle and just nonstop, relentless surge of violence in our cities. Every major city in America is suffering from cartel violence. Even the U.S.-based gangs are working directly with these cartels. The drugs, the guns, the weapons, the cash, the organization. We've been occupied by cartels for far too long. President Trump is finally allowing and directing the United States military to use its authorities under the Constitution to defend America from the terrorist organizations that have run free for too long in our own hemisphere. Thank you.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, as far as going after the terrorist organizations and drug cartels, I think all of that is great. I do not believe that Maduro is behind any of that, and I don't really believe that Stephen Miller believes it. The terrorist organizations, with how they're labeled, are essentially just private armies of the global regime, as are drug cartels. And CanCon and I talked about this a bit yesterday on Daily. But if you think about the way these things operate, we're talking about organizations that are responsible for running the criminal side of a dual use organization, right? A shipping company can bring us all the goods we need, and it can also be trafficking drugs and weapons and humans while it's transporting the goods that we need. So there's an obviously useful side of that business that is totally legitimate and not immoral or evil. And then behind that, there's another side of the business. And we have a bunch of businesses, a bunch of industries that are like this. And the dark side of it is always working with international organized crime, which is cartels, and with governments and NGOs and the rest of it. And so we even had, at the beginning of the Trump term, the New York Times was publishing articles about how Trump couldn't label the cartels terrorist organizations because the cartels are so interlinked with so-called legitimate businesses that it was going to mess everything up. And so I look at just all of that as part of the same regime construct. And that is what the war is. It's the sovereign nations going after this global regime, trying to remove the infiltration from the country. And so in that light, when they're going after drug cartels and terrorist organizations, fine. But I doubt that the enemy of the regime down in Venezuela is the one that who's directing that side of the conflict.
Yeah, man. Your take on Venezuela, I feel like you're one of the very few who hold it.
Well,
yeah.
I think I've maybe convinced some of our friends, but
yeah, I mean, like you've been the first one to start advancing that. Maybe that's a better way for me to phrase that. And it definitely makes much more sense when you look at the way things are like mapping onto reality.
Mhm.
And I think it's interesting when we see these very public narrative advancements, like one like that from Stephen Miller, clearly painting him. I mean, guys, he's so bad. We have a $50 million bounty on his head. Like if we're not careful, we might have to like send in SEAL Team 6 to go put a bomb or a grenade in under his pillow or something, because they can't just nuke him to take him out.
Device.
Yeah, it's just again, it's just funny. But yeah, I think it's very interesting. And you were talking about cartels, and one thing about the cartels that most people think, when they think cartels, they think drugs, right? But another thing cartels can do is sell lotion. And right now, Badlands Media is trying to take down the lotion cartels with our soft disclosure. Guys, this is the best lotion you will find anywhere. We're igniting a revolution. We're revolutionizing skincare with soft disclosure. Last Friday, I had Annie on this. I guess that would have been yesterday. Annie on, the maker of this from Whirlwind Farm. She's a fantastic lady. You got to watch the first like 10, 15, 20 minutes of my Daily Herold show. You can get to know the maker of these products. We've partnered with her. She is an amazing woman, hard worker, so down to earth, and her products are fantastic. We got the lotion itself. I told you at the beginning, my hands are amazing. I got so many compliments today about how soft my hands feel when people shake them. But I haven't had the soft disclosure today. Feel dry. The deodorant, awesome. Wearing it all day. Haven't stunk once. Smell fantastic. The towel bar, people are raving about it. Got to get yours. Go to softdisclosure.com. Use code Badlands for $5 off. The best lotion you can buy anywhere. Soft disclosure. Sorry, I had to plug it, man.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
So apologies for interrupting your cartel talk.
That's okay.
But bro, I'm beat. I feel like I'm delusional and delirious right now.
I will just say to everybody,
you're
if you
muted.
want, really?
Or am I?
I don't know. I mean, it doesn't say I am. Can you hear me?
Go wrong with me?
Can you guys hear me?
I think my speaker's switched. Hold on.
I think that this is
Now
a John problem. Okay.
Yeah.
So
They usually are.
I was just going to say, I was digging into this guy, Barrios Carvajal down in Venezuela, who was arrested by the United States, extradited from Spain a few years back. Apparently this guy is some kind of whistleblower. Emerald Robinson had a piece today where she was suggesting that the Trump DOJ was going to put him away for something, and then he's not going to be able to reveal the election fraud out of Venezuela. And I think Emerald Robinson is great, and I'm not trying to slight her in any way, but the Carvajal guy is like vehemently anti-Maduro and on board with global regime efforts to remove Maduro down in Venezuela. So to think that he's going to implicate Maduro in election theft down in Venezuela, I think is crazy. But anyhow, I went through a bit of a dig on that this afternoon, and all of it's posted, I think on Truth Social, but definitely on Telegram at t.me/veryreasonable.
Yeah, speaking of that, I want to play your video here. We're going to play it at the outro.
Yeah, cool.
Which is also on your t.me/bereasonable or
True,
whatever.
it is over there, yeah.
But before we do that, let's get to the boost real quick, see if we got any. By the way, guys, tomorrow I am going to be, and CanCon, and I believe Josh Reed, we are going to be in Minneapolis. We're going to a meetup at Pub Q. Let me pull this up real quick. There it is. Minnesota Badlanders meetup. I hope you Gettysburg Badlanders are having a great time out there. But yeah, the Minnesota meetup tomorrow, Pub Q. It's on the website. Go to badlandsmedia.tv/events. Starts at 12. It says on here it goes till 5. I may have to leave like right at 5 to catch my flight. So make sure you RSVP Quinny's Sports Pub at gmail.com. And then Boost, I saw we had a couple come in. Tess Ved says, Gettysburg meetup was awesome. We had a great day and evening. We took an open air bus tour and we all behaved ourselves when we passed by the woke protesters in the square twice. Also, what is the best article to share your thoughts on Executive Order 13848? I would probably actually share you a video link. It's one of my power hours I did. I used to have the number right. I'll find it for you, Tess Ved. And I'll bring that up on Wednesday's Power Hour. Let me jot that down. Otherwise, it's probably Article 7 of my series, but I feel like I do a better job elaborating on it in one of our Power Hours. And then 1027JS says, happy DPH. And thank you for that, Joe, my fellow North Dakotan. And just a couple rants here. Let me pull those up really quick. We got Polymathanon. Good evening and God bless everyone. APL wishes the same. I don't have my normal thing where I can share it, so I can't pull it up on the screen. It's on my laptop. Thank you, Polymathanon. RPRN DJT was working with the FBI way back with Abscam in 1980. It all went down at Trump Tower in New Jersey. Do you recall? Is that what we've talked about before?
Man, I don't know that story.
Okay. I'm pretty sure that's the one. I think we've talked about that before. Alternative 94, when Trump claims the Epstein files are a hoax, he is referring to him being implicated in crimes like the left and some Republican normies allege. He said it's like the Russia hoax, which means it's kind of the reading we've taken on it. Salbish, love John Herold and Chris Paul Saturdays. Thank you, Salbish. Chris, by the way, do you want to get your clip pulled up? I tried getting it pulled up on True Social.
Yeah, let me see if I can find it. Yeah, I'll have to go back.
Yeah, my video won't load on it.
No worries. Take me 2 seconds.
Okay. So just got a couple more here. Casper 17, is it possible it could have been a military trial, being that it was supposedly a charge for insurrection, and that could be why it doesn't show up in the federal records anywhere? I believe for her to be charged via the military, she would have to be a member of the military. I'm pretty sure that's how that works, but don't quote me on it. Also, insurrection, I mean, they went after Trump for insurrection. That was a civil charge for him, wasn't it? Pretty sure. Chris, you have anything to add on that?
No. I was just reading something. Sorry.
Okay. Old School 69, Article 2, Section 4, the Constitution can remove a president, vice president, and the House and Senate for treason and high crimes. Can Trump enact such a plan to remove all fake non-elected people? If they'll get charged with treason, certainly. I think that's what it's kind of what we're waiting for, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we'll see. Deplorable number 1. During World War II, there were groups of ace pilots who resigned their commission to go to fly Chinese planes against Japan. They were known as the Flying Tigers.
Very cool.
That sure is interesting. Andy Artist, my favorite Devolution duo, sans capes. Oh, love it. Thank you, sir. Makes sense to me too. There's already war on terror ongoing. Cartels are now foreign terrorist organizations. They are legitimate military targets. No new declaration of war is necessary. Totally agree with that. That's something he definitely did back in his first term as well. Elaborated on it and expanded upon those authorities here in his second term. It's been pretty awesome to see. But I still think we're going to get Supreme Court challenges on it. So looking forward to it.
Are you
reading the? I love the comment, Bryce. I don't know if I'm going to read that one.
Good call, but yeah.
But thank you for the $100. Grease Monkey 58, John. Club Q sounds sus. Sure, it's not a swinger club. Pub Q. It's Quinny's Pub. Quinny's been to multiple of our events, and it's awesome. She's awesome. She's a great supporter. We love her, and looking forward to being there tomorrow, seeing everybody again. Had a big turnout last year. PJ Corrigan. Oh man, here's to me beating John and being one step closer to my $50 Badlands gear and soft disclosure. Thanks, John. Love you, Chris. Not in a gay way. It's okay to love Chris in a gay way.
It's not that okay.
It's not that okay. It's slightly okay. Yeah, he is beating me in fantasy football right now, but I still have like all of Sunday and I think Monday to make my comeback, so I'm not too worried. But anyway, guys, let's play that outro video, man.
Okay.
If you got it ready to go, and thank you everybody for tuning in. Hit that thumbs up. We appreciate your guys' support. Just muted myself on accident. Appreciate your guys' support. Hit the thumbs up. And I'll be back on.
Wait, hold on 1 second here. I think that's the right one.
This is the long one. It starts with Eddie Bravo at the beginning, I think.
Yeah. Here we go. It is the right one. There it is. Yeah. And you guys can find this on Rumble, by the way, by searching Eddie Bravo, Chris Paul, and his podcast is called Look Into It. And John Herold was also on there. So,
yeah. But yours was way better than mine.
That's not true. Yours was good.
But yours was gooder. So they were both good. Eddie Bravo was just a fun guy to talk to.
Yes.
Yeah, you had some great stuff to say, including this right here. I think this is brilliant. So check it out, everybody. Hit the thumbs up. We will see you next time.
What do you think about Q? What was Q?
I wrote a long thing about this in 2022, I believe, in the spring of 2022. It's on my website. You can find it. It's called A Story About Reality. It's in many parts. I think that the Q operation was a psychological operation, one way or another, maybe run by the good guys, probably run by the good guys. It seems like that, but maybe run by the bad guys. Regardless of that, what it did was get people investigating and researching all of these issues and figuring out that on all of them, they had been deceived and that there was some other truth out there that we could find. So I think that it made the kind of truth movement and the people, I think it opened people's minds and sent the truth movement off on a path to popularity that it wouldn't otherwise have taken. And so I think whether it's a good psyop or a bad psyop, all that matters is how we react to it. So I don't try to get too deep on it. I think that it's information among other information. It can lead to all sorts of awakening, all sorts of analysis, all sorts of realizations. But in terms of the people going on and playing match online and connecting things with little red lines and all that, unless they're going to tell me what proper meaning is of what they're doing, then that stuff's just like fluff. What does it mean that these things match?
Sometimes it's easy to tell. Sometimes it's
yeah. And then other times it's like we're dealing with a bunch of anonymous fortune tellers online telling us, oh, I know what that is because Donald Trump speaks to me in secret code. So there's a way to go too far with it. I think it's valuable information. I think it can be a really positive force in the world. I think it's probably brought a lot of people to the awakening that ends with Jesus Christ. So to all those extents, it's really good. But there's also a way that people use it for bad. People refer to it as though it's scripture. They trust Q more than they trust God. It's a very weird dynamic. I think, like with everything else, the good exists and the bad exists, all packed into the same thing.
The most important thing about Q, though, whether you believe in it or not, it's like who is behind it.
That's right.
That's fucking important because some people think it's like a Bolshevik psyop that they did before.
That's the Operation Trust thing.
Yeah, some people think it's that, and maybe it is. But then some people think that it's legit and it's real.
Yeah.
And for me, back 4 years ago, did you consider yourself a Q-tard?
No, I've never gone like that far with it. I started looking at it, I think in August or September of 2020. And then immediately you fall into going along with the Q influencers. And there is a Q influencer op that pitches as much disinfo as the people who watch MSNBC, because of course there is. And so I never use it that way. I would read the posts, think about what they could mean, do research when I didn't know what the posts were talking about. I'm not even sure that I've read all the posts, but I've come to a lot of the same conclusions. And some of that is because the Q operation in general injected so many new ideas that eventually became mainstream that many of us have adopted those ideas. So upstream, it's the Q op, and that's a very interesting dynamic. But I don't put too much stock in the Q analysis that is consistently produced on the internet for all these many years. But Donald Trump and Davino have definitely signaled at Q before, right? They've used the same coded language in ways that are going to make people connect them. And so are they pointing out an adversarial op when they're doing that? Or are they just giving us hat tips and saying the thing we're about to say is in code? And you can go either way on those things.
Yeah, you would think if it was a psyop, like a Bolshevik trust the plan psyop, why would they go so hard against it? They went real. HBO did a documentary on it. Even
is that them going against it though?
Was that?
Is that them going against it?
They're making everybody look like
advertising?
retards.
Think about it this way. Michael Moore, when he made Fahrenheit 9/11, thought he was taking down the neocons. But as you said, it's two sides of the same coin. And he was serving the system by cementing the official story of 9/11. It didn't matter what his opinion about it. It was that he believed the story of 9/11 the way it was told, and he's going to tell you why it makes George Bush the bad guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can do that same thing with any of these issues, and that's exactly what they do, in my opinion.
Yeah, I never looked at it that way. That is true. Because even though Michael Moore's focus was making the Bushes look bad, he basically opened a lot of people's eyes to the whole picture.
If you wanted to make the whole Q thing look bad, right? If it just was a bad thing, and you wanted people to believe, to adopt a false belief system, right? What would you do? How would you go about it? You would present it very well to them in ways that appeal to them, and you would have it opposed by those people's enemies, right? So if the Democrats and MSNBC and CNN and the New York Times are all like, QAnon is this and QAnon is that, anybody who realizes it's not that is going to be like, no, QAnon is good. And through the conflict, they are able to create the image of this thing that they ultimately want, and they're able to get people fully on board with these ideas. And they run that psyop on us over and over and over. So to think that they might have run it there too is not a stretch for me.
Yeah, I see that. I didn't look at it like that before.
I don't think it's wrong, man.
Yeah.
I think it's good to look at.
Yeah.
Like I talk about information among other information. It's, oh, okay, I know that thing now. I'm going to add that into the mix. I'll think about it. I'll pay attention to it. But it doesn't mean that I'm going to go believing it in full.
Yeah.